In this video, we're going to be moving our fire functionality to the actual weapon. So essentially what we're going to end up doing is if we head over to, for example, in our weapon 1911, we overrode fire. We need to kind of, for now, we're going to leave it inside the 1911. Or if you recall a couple videos back, I mentioned setting up the fire function in our weapon base for specifically semi-auto weapons. That will probably be done later on just to prevent us from having to override each and every single weapon, no matter what, when we could have just a baseline for semi-autos and not really have to touch it. But thinking about that made me realize we need to set up a variable for just the base damage. So what I'm going to do for that, I'm going to go ahead and copy one of these uProperties inside of weaponbase.h, and I'm going to do it for weapon name, and I'm going to give the variable a name of, and let's just do base damage. And let's set base damage to equal just 100 for now. Okay. I'll do the same thing inside of the 1911. So base damage equals 100, like so, and leave it. So in our Nazi zombie character, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and simply copy everything that is in, like remove our comment here. Oh, yeah, I'll drag the comment along. We're going to drag everything inside of our on fire function and put it in our 1911's fire function, like so. Then we're going to have a couple of includes. So back in our Nazi zombie character, we need to include camera helpers and world.h. So I'm going to copy the include for world.h and the include for draw debug helpers, like so. Then what we need to do is we need to actually get the location for the muzzle. We just scroll back down to on fire. We need to get the location for the muzzle. So that way we can replace our start location and rotation because it's currently off of our first person camera component. So I want to load up the skeleton of our 1911's mesh. So weapons 1911 mesh skeleton, and we have our bone called muzzle. Okay. All lowercase. I'm just triple checking the spelling and everything. We're gonna change the start to, let's see, what was the weapon? Oh, like weapon mesh. Yep, weapon mesh. So weapon mesh. We need to include skeletal mesh component. So inside of weapon 1911, we're going to include components, skeletal mesh component .h, and we can search for, let's look for location. So under the get locations, so here we have get bone location, and then that takes in the f name for bone name, so f name, then the bone name, which was muzzle, and then let's see, by default, yeah, we want it in the world space. So we're going to leave it like so. We're going to do the same thing for the rotation. So weapon mesh, get bone. Let's see, there is no rotation, so we're going to actually instead get the bone transform. Or would it be the quaternion? Get bone, okay. So we want the bone quaternion. So same thing again, have name, muzzle. Then by default, set to world space, which is what we want. And what are you complaining about? What to vector? See dot. Should convert it to a vector, like so. Then we have the ending, which is start plus the rotation times the distance we want. So let's compile actually, we need to set it up to fire this function. So in our Nazi zombie character.cpp, we look at, oh wait, this is our character base.cpp. Look at our begin play, we create the weapon and we attach it to our hand. We don't have any access to this weapon variable. So what we need to do, we need to set, let me find it. Okay, here we are. So we have our current weapon, weapon index of which one we're on, and our weapon array. We need to kind of set these up with the default weapon. So what I'm going to do instead, we have current weapon. I'm simply going to set current weapon, set that equal to the spawn actor of our weapon class. And from there, I'm going to simply do a check. So if current weapon, meaning it's valid, I'm going to then attach it just like normal. So if that's all valid, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add it to our weapon array. So weapon index is 0 by default. This weapon is going to be index 0, so that's what we want. So we're going to do weapon array dot add. What we're going to add is current weapon, like so. And now we should have access to our current weapon variable. So now in our Nazi zombie character class, we scroll down to on fire. We're going to do if current weapon. We're going to do current weapon. I need to include the header for weapon base. So let's copy it from weapon base.cpp and move it into Nazi zombie character.cpp, just like so. And what we're going to do is we're going to call our public fire function that is overridden. We're going to do current weapon fire, like so. Then we should compile. Now I'm going to close the editor. There we go. In the future, we're going to make this so it returns the hit results. Those hit results then get passed to the server, and the server then does kind of everything. What's going to do, it's obvious. I mean, there's really no point. It's Nazi zombies to really do like a cheating. Well, yeah, I guess there is. So the way we're going to be doing our firing is we're going to be going from the client to the server to keep it responsive. So the client's going to kind of have somewhat of the authority. The server's just going to check if the actual kind of like the hits and stuff like that are even possible. There we go. Let's relaunch the editor and see what happens. We should see shooting 1911 get printed and then all of the hits. Hopefully. Okay, let's check. Left click. All right. So it is shooting. It just happens to kind of be hitting ourselves because it's shooting 90 degrees left. Not quite what we want. So let's go to the content browser, reopen the skeleton. Ooh, lower the camera speed a lot. And so the rotation of that bone was off. So that was the main issue. However, I don't think you can actually edit it quite like that, can you? Son of a speed change. Where's the gun? Yeah, because now it's back 90 degrees to the left. So what I'm going to do instead to fix this is I'm going to create a socket. I'm going to right click, add socket. So as you can see the size of this sucker. I'm just going to set the scale to 0.01 just so it's small and actually fits. And we're going to set the rotation to be a positive 90 degrees. So that way it is shooting straight out of the muzzle. And I'm just going to leave the name as muzzle socket. And let's change up how we kind of fire. So we're going to do weapon mesh, get socket location. Then we have f name for the socket, and that is muzzle socket. Yeah, muzzle socket. We're going to do the same thing for here for the rotation. So get socket rotation, f name, muzzle socket. We need to convert it to a vector like so, and we can compile. Just save and close editor so I can restart it. So that is all because of my, not sure actually why it was off on that axis. Oh well, it's not that big of a deal. So let's relaunch our Aurora OR. And check it again. So now when we shoot, it shoots straight, which is what we want. Problem is, it's hitting ourselves, as you can obviously tell. So what we're going to do is in the fire base, we're going to add a parameter just for now that takes in a Nazi zombie character.cp or Nazi zombie character class, so we can add it to the list of actors to ignore. So what we're going to do is do class a Nazi zombie character. I'm going to call this one shooting player. And then pass it in as a parameter to our fire function and our weapon base. Do the same thing for our weapon 1911. Back to the header, or declare it, and just set it up so it's matching to the weapon base function or weapon base class's version of the function. Then what we have to do is include our Nazi zombie character and the .cpp of both the weapon 1911 and the weapon base.cpp. So then we go to our weapon 1911 and go down here. When I move line 35 up to line 34 for the adding of the ignored actors, I want to do collision params dot add ignored actor shooting player, like so. So that way we're ignoring the weapon and the player that is shooting. So now we can compile. This will make it so hopefully everything works out like it did before, but we will actually be using our weapon, well, as a weapon. I don't know how else to explain it. Right? That is my fault. I forgot to pass in on line 109, current weapon fire. We need to pass in this. And this is a reference to our Nazi zombie character or the shooter. So we relaunch the editor. And check it out. Okay, shoot the wall. There we go. We are now shooting out of the weapon. And we have our overlapping. We should see 4, 0, 1, 2, and 4, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, where I hit them all. So our blocking, our overlapping, and all that kind of stuff is working as intended. So for example, I shoot this guy, goes through him and hits wall number 3. And everything is working as it was supposed to. So when we aim down sights and all that kind of stuff, it should all be working nicely. So we now have that basic part set up. How long have I been recording? 14 minutes. All right, we're going to do this very quickly then, just to kind of speed this up. We're going to change our function one more time. Instead of just be returning void, what we're going to do is we're going to make it return a T array of hit results. We're going to do T array. Again, we're in the weapon base. The type is going to be if hit result, like so. And the weapon base, do the exact same thing. I'm going to actually copy this portion from our header. May return T array of F hit results. We should do return T array F hit result, like so. And in our 1911, change the return type there as well for our fire function. And what we're going to do is make it return our hit results. And we're doing this so that we can actually, from the server, kind of do validate. So this is what we're going to be passing to the server. So that should all be good. And we can also start re-add our damage to the zombies real quick by simply re-adding this kind of check. So what I'm going to do, so if the hit actor was valid, again, we're going to be making changes to this, so it's not a big deal. We're going to include our A zombie base class. That actually worked. Change this to hit results with an S. Dot get actor. Oh, sorry, change it to result dot get actor. Then for zombie hit, it takes in our Nazi zombie character, and that's going to be our shooting player. And I'm going to remove the zombie hit log. So now I'm going to compile, and everything should be pretty much exactly like it was before, except now we can hit multiple zombies, and yeah, I don't know how else to explain that. And that comes from our weapon, but we get points added and all that kind of stuff for the hit, which we did in our hit function for the zombie. Right. Not sure what you complained about. I'm going to recompile. Let's see. Oh, it would be the include here. So I'm going to go ahead and include for zombie base. So it's going to be product name, public, Nazi zombie, zombie base.h. And now we should be good, which we are. So let's launch the Unreal Engine project again. Okay. Now we should be getting our points. I shoot them. Points 2800, points 2900. I line them up. And we go all the way up to 3200. So pretty much just getting a ton of points as it's hitting several at a time. So we're up to 8900. And everything is just going nice, fine, and dandy. So I'd say we're good to go. So now we have our fire function in our 1911, so it shoots out of the actual weapon itself. We're going to be making probably going to have default functions inside a weapon base that handle getting the start and end rotation. So that way we can simply call them and not have to worry about it, since it's all going to be the exact same. We're going to have a muzzle socket, but that'll be done probably in the next video where we just clean this up just a bit. So I want to change, I'm going to leave it here. So what we're doing is from our Nazi zombie character, checking if our current weapon's valid. If it is, we will call a fire function on it. And current weapon is a weapon base, but since it's virtual and we overrode it in our weapon 1911 class that's derived from weapon base, all of this is what runs. So we just get our muzzle socket location and rotation, do the exact same thing. So we're going out for a total distance of 2,000 centimeters for our line trace. The line trace is going to run till it hits a blocking hit, which is like this wall, which has, I'm being blind as a bat, which has bullet trace set to be blocking. And yeah, we just loop through all of the hit actors. If one so happens to be a zombie, then we shoot it. I mean, well, we call our hit function on it, which simply gives us points. So it doesn't really get more simple than that. But yeah, we're off to a good start with our weapon system. We're set up quite nicely. So I think in the next video, it's going to be a real short one where we just clean up, create two functions just for getting the start and end location of our weapon. And yeah, I will see you then.